If there is one genre I thought I didn't like until just recently, it's the mecha genre. I don't know why, giant robots smashing each other to pieces just never really appealed to me. Maybe that's just because from my childhood memories, for every moment giant robots were smashing each other up, there'd be twice the amount of moments where people were just babbling on about politics or stuff that I didn't really understand or give a shit about. Keep in mind though that at this stage my attention span was about as short as the Hulk's temper on a bad day. And for all I cared about, storylines could have been about sweaty overgrown men suffering from bad constipation just as long as there was some action happening every 5 minutes, so I would have been satisfied. Isn't that right, Dragon Ball Z? But a few years have passed now and my attention span has gone slightly longer. So even though I wouldn't call myself a real mecha fan since I cannot for the life of me get into the Gundam series, there are still many mecha animes that I like a lot. So with that introduction gone, let's talk about my new favourite mecha anime, Code Geass. Or Geese, or Geass, or however the fuck you pronounce it. Code Geass is set in an alternate reality world, in which the British Empire, the Empire of Britannia, because nobody saw what they did there, have gained control of about 1/3 of the world, and have also recently gained control of Japan, changing its name to Area 11. Lelouch is a young Britannian, who vows to destroy the Empire of Britannia to make a better world for his sister Nunnally, and also find out who really murdered his mother. The show is set 7 years later, and follows the story of Lelouch as he leads a rebellion against the Empire of Britannia as his alter ego Zero. That is, when he's not busy getting hard on while playing chess or screaming like a little girl. So to put the whole story in a nutshell, it's Japan versus the British Empire, with giant robots thrown in. The twist in this show is that Lelouch has a power in his eye called Geass, a power which makes anyone who makes eye contact with him obey his every order, and he uses this to his advantage in many ways throughout the series, from ordering people to kill themselves, to using it for interrogation to find out the absolute truth about his mother's death. Though it is a shame he doesn't know that even now scientists have already invented the perfect truth serum. It's called 6 pints of beer and a double vodka Red Bull. The cast for this anime is actually pretty big. Some of the main characters include Suzaku, Nunnally, fanservice number 1, fanservice number 2, fanservice number 3, minor fanservice number 4, 5 and 6, and finally our main protagonist Lelouch Lamperouge, i.e. Lelouch v Britannia, i.e. Grandmaster Scheme Titfag II, with Grandmaster Scheme Titfag I being of course Light Yagami. I mention Light because he and Lelouch share many similarities. Both are geniuses, and both have supernatural powers that they use to quote-unquote try to take over the world, Pinky and the Brain style. Though, as the series went on, I found that Lelouch was more likeable overall than Light, since you can really empathise with him in some of the decisions that he has to make. And he does show quite a lot of compassion, especially when it comes to his sister. Unlike Light, he just turns out to be more and more of a prick as the series went on. I felt the story was very well paced, since the end of every episode always left me wanting more, and inherently made this a fucking addictive anime. I just love seeing what plan Lelouch would come up with next to battle the Empire, since it was very reminiscent of Death Note type planning ahead. I also found it amusing how both Lelouch and Suzaku have very different methods of achieving the same goal, but both end up becoming hypocrites in everything they say and do to achieve that goal. So while Lelouch and Suzaku compete to see who can become the biggest hypocrites in the universe, and everyone else trying to discover the true identity of Zero, our resident fanservice character Karen just focuses on having too many naked shower scenes. Actually no, I take that back. There can never be too many naked shower scenes with Karen involved. Yes, as you can probably guess, there is some fanservice in this anime, but that's a given really, since I don't think there's a single average-looking girl in this bloody anime, and I could have sworn that the skirts of the school uniform they're all wearing get progressively smaller as the series goes on. I've watched some of the dubbing for this series, and I can say that all in all I am impressed. Johnny Young Bosch does a very good job as Lelouch, but I just can't shake this feeling I get when I hear his voice that it just sounds exactly the same as some of his previous voice work, such as Ichigo from Bleach and Vasher Stampede from Trigun. With one exception of course being his role as Renton Thurston from Eureka 7, in which I'm convinced his final voice was a product of the director having his balls gripped in a vice during recording. But getting back on topic, his portrayal of Lelouch the Stampede was done excellently. The rest of the cast was also pretty much spot on. Overall there were just some plot holes I didn't understand. Why did Lelouch not just use Geass and Mao straight away instead of playing his stupid game of life and death? Why did Shirley not just tell everyone that Zero was Lelouch in the ending episodes instead of being so bloody cryptic about it? Why is Nina still alive at the end of the series? Well, technically that isn't a plot hole, but it still pissed me off. Apart from some minor nitpicks, I can't think of anything so wrong with this series apart from the fact that it ends on a freaking cliffhanger. I can only thank God there is a second series, otherwise I would have personally flown to Japan, find out whoever decided to cancel the show and bitch slap them back to the Stone Age. Animation is beautiful and the storyline has everything you'd want in an anime. I would like to give this anime my first 10 out of 10, but this review is on the first series, and I can't give a perfect score to a series that doesn't have a proper ending. So for that reason, I give this series a 9 out of 10.
優秀の孤独